Hey guys, Carl from Purple Misplaced. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising from designers Alara Cameron, Helana Hope, and Sen-Foong Lim, and publisher Lucky Duck Games. This is a sort of tower defense survival style game based around a polyomino tile laying mechanism in which you're basically fighting off waves or hordes of enemies that are trying to attack your kingdom by placing out different kinds of towers that will basically attack these hordes of enemies using different polyomino-shaped tiles that you need to lay down on the hordes of enemies to sort of cover off these shapes of enemies printed on that card. Disclaimer, I was given a review copy of this game for this video, but as always I will do my best to give you my own honest opinion on the game. With that said, let's head down to the table to see how the solo mode in this one plays, and then I'll meet you back up here to let you know what I think. To set up a solo game of Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising, begin by selecting a scenario from the scenario book, which is going to sort of dictate how you set up the majority of the components for your play. For the play in this video, I will be playing scenario 3, Rumble in the Jungle. So the first thing I need to do is set up the map for the game. Next, following the instructions as printed in the scenario, you're going to build the spawn stacks, or the stacks of enemies that are going to be sort of spawning into the game as you play. And those will get placed out in the positions as shown on the map setup. And then in addition to those spawn stacks, depending on the number of players that you're playing with, some enemies will start already spawned on the board. And as I place out the enemies on the board, I will be placing them on these green plastic trays. So setting up according to the one player setup in the book, we are starting like this with a yellow level 1 enemy here, a green level 1 here, a red level 1 here, and a yellow level 0 starting over there. Also in this scenario, we will be playing with a sort of boss monster called Fireclaw. And the Fireclaw monster has 3 cards, and I'm going to stack them in order with 3 on the bottom, 3, 2, 1, like that. And for this scenario, they get placed right here in the center, like that. Continuing to set up the map, we are going to place out the 2 exit tiles right here and right here, like that. Setting the total health for sort of the world as enemies are escaping to 5 health, and I'll just stick those right in there like that. Also following the map setup for the solo game, we've got these building locations, 3 each in 3 different colors, yellow, pink, and green. They might be weird on screen because they are see-through, but we're going to place those out as shown in the map as well. And in setting up the yellows, I did realize that this enemy is actually meant to be in that position. So I will continue setting up the rest of the building sites. So as you can see, we finished then with 3 yellow building sites here, here, and here. 3 pink sites here, here, and here. And finally 3 green sites there, there, and over there. And also following as it shows in the map setup, this scenario will be using 3 of these magic blossom tiles and 2 of these volcano tiles. So I'll go ahead and place those out on the map as well. And then each of those volcano spaces for this scenario are also going to get one of these objective tokens on them also. And then this left volcano is going to start seated with 2 coins. And the right volcano over here is going to start seated with 2 gems on them. And then finally, as part of a special setup for this scenario, there's going to be a sort of non-player character in this scenario, which will be made clear as I sort of get into the story of this scenario. But I'm going to place the mini for Ulrich as well as his 2 sort of sand soldiers or sand warriors right down here in this bottom space like that to start the game. And with that, we are all set up with the map. So the next thing to do is to set up my player area, set up the sort of market of towers, and just make sure that all of the tokens and so on that I need are within reach. So then to set up my own player area, the first thing I need to do is choose a character. And for this playthrough, I will be playing as Deirdre. So I'm going to set out Deirdre's playboard over here, leaving some space here for 1 small card. And setting my player health to full by placing one of these little heart tokens right there on the rightmost health space. I also need to take the miniature for my character, which is this one right here. And I'll just set that on their board for right now. Actually, let me put it here so I can keep the board clear to show some things off in just a minute. And that means I'm also going to need all of the pieces for Deirdre, but I'm going to hold off on that because I will put all of the sort of polyomino tile pieces out at the end of setting everything else up. Also, for the solo mode, we're going to be choosing 2 bench heroes, which are basically heroes that are going to be used once as sort of an assist during the game. And for this game, I will be choosing both Saitam and Elora Wintersong, but I'm going to flip those over to their bench hero sides, and I'm just going to set these 2 cards over here like this on the side of my board, which means I will also need to bring out both of their minis as well, which are these 2 right here, and I'll just set those over here as well, like that. In addition, for this scenario, it says that I can use the level 1 special abilities for my character, and as I'm playing in solo mode, I get to take 2 of them. So there are 2 level 1 abilities for my character, which are Consecration and Hallelujah. So I'm going to flip those over and I'll place those both in the slots on the player board, and I'll explain what they do later when we get into gameplay. And then finally, to set up the sort of tower marketplace, for this scenario, it says we're going to use the normal level 1, 2, and 3 towers of each type. But in addition to those, I will also be using the Crossbow Fort, the Assassin's Guild, the Archmage, and the Dwarf. So I'm going to put all of those out right now. All right, so here you see the sort of level 1, 2, and 3 of the sort of archery-based ones, level 1, 2, and 3 of the soldier-based ones, 1, 2, 3 of the magic-based ones, 1, 2, 3 of the sort of dwarven artillery-based ones. And then these are the level 4 for the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th columns, respectively. Also, just to make space for this, I did slide the 5 hearts up here just so that you can see where they ended up. In addition to all of that, I should be starting with a supply of 3 crystals and 3 coins, which I will place here on my board, 3 crystals and 3 coins like that. Then, because I'm playing solo, I'm going to start with available towers to me that are 1 Archer Tower, 1 Mage Guild, 1 Adept Guild, 1 Dwarven Bombard, and 1 Footman Barracks. So again, that's 1 Archer Tower, 1 Mage Guild, 1 Adept Guild, 1 Dwarven Bombard, and 1 Footman Barracks, like that. And I'll set those out here for now. I'll probably move things around, maybe putting these up top here to make more space. Actually, you know what? Let's do that right now. Then you can see exactly what I have available in my hand to me, like that. I also need to have, well, don't really need to have, but I'm going to use these 3 colored sort of gem tokens as a bit of a tracker for me while I play. And you'll see why when I get into gameplay. These are going to sort of help me figure out what I've done and what I can do in the solo play mode. So I'll throw those down here like that. And otherwise, we've got 3 sort of player aids that I'm going to place out on screen for you. This is the general helper card, and I'll use this to explain how basically each round works. Sorry, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the different phases in the rounds. This is a reference card for the Magic Blossom tiles that you see here, here, and here on the screen. I'll throw that up just so I have it available to me. And then finally, this is the specific player aid for the Rumble in the Jungle scenario, which is scenario 3 that we're playing right now. I'm going to place those 3 there on the table just so they're there for reference. And also, just so I have it on screen for reference, I'm going to put the rest of the plastic trays there to use as I spawn things moving forward. And lastly, this book that contains the sort of upgrade tokens that I can use later on as I play. And I'll explain how that works when we do that. I'll just stick that up there in the corner. Otherwise, the only thing that's missing is the different sort of tokens and components for the game. But there are a lot of them, and they're not really something that need to be on screen. So I'm going to leave them off screen and pull them in as I need them. But that consists of the tokens and gold that I've already shown you for my starting setup. These soldier meeples that I'll actually be using quite often with the character I've chosen, so actually I'll keep those here handy nearby. And otherwise, we just have a large variety of different attack type tiles, and I'm going to sort of just dump them up here in the corner. So you might see some on the screen, but not in any kind of organized or clean way. Because already this screen is getting pretty cluttered, and I hope that it's clear enough to see all of the things that are going on the screen. And with that, we are all set up for gameplay. So Kingdom Rush Elemental Rising is going to play out over a series of rounds that's basically going to be dictated by these spawn stacks of enemies, because if at any point all of those are empty and it's time to spawn new enemies, the game will instantly end because I haven't finished sort of within the time limit of my specific scenario. But otherwise, each scenario is going to have sort of unique win and lost kind of conditions. In addition to the lose condition or the loss condition that is always there, that is if all 5 of the health of this sort of world of our kingdom is destroyed or gone, then we also will lose. But otherwise, again, each scenario has unique victory conditions and loss conditions, and I'll get more into that after I talk about sort of how the basic game itself is going to play out. So the gameplay is going to sort of follow what's shown on this player aid. And the first step it says is we're going to spawn new hordes. We're going to skip the spawn new hordes step in the first round of the game, but basically what's going to happen is for each of these stacks of spawn stacks, basically, we're going to take the top card of that stack, or in this case where it's a blank card, simply remove it from the game, but we'll take the top card, add it to one of these trays, and place it in that position. But if that position is full, it will simply be placed in the next open position. Granted, if all of these are filled in, it will go straight from the spawn stack out of the kingdom, which is going to cause damage to my kingdom, and I'll explain how that works in a bit. But we'll always be doing things in order 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll spawn from this stack here, then this, and then that. And again, each of those would be placed in the closest empty location. So for right now, 1 would be here, 2 would be here, 3 would be here, and 4 would be right there. The next phase of each round is number 2, which says play tower and hero card. So in this step, there are A, B, and C. We can play a tower card on an empty building site in your color. And I'll explain what that means in just a second, because in the solo mode, that's changed up a little bit. B, we can pass a tower card, put it into the supply, and put a higher level tower of the same type on another player's incoming tower space. There is no other player incoming tower space, so that's going to be our own. Or C, play my hero card, move my hero, then do a basic attack, special ability, or rest. And in addition to that, when I'm playing my hero turn, I can also in the solo mode use my bench heroes. So let me take a little bit of time to go through this, because this is the sort of main piece of the game. So each of the towers that I have, and yes, those are all different, so let me show them all to you. Each of the towers that I have is going to do a variety of different things, and there are a couple places we want to see on each location. First, this is what's going to be targeted by the tower. When I play the tower down, these are the locations that it can potentially hit. So this means directly in front or diagonally to either the left or the right. Whatever it shows down here in the bottom left corner is the type of damage that it's going to be doing. So this is regular physical damage. These fireballs here are magical damage. And the only other kind of damage is something called true damage, which doesn't start on those, but is starting with our blossoms, and that's this sort of pink flaming looking sword icon. And I'll explain what those do in a little bit more detail once we get into play, because some of the enemies that we're attacking are going to have sort of unique things that need to be done to hurt them. But then once we've decided what kind of damage we're using and where we're placing it, we're going to do whatever it shows sort of up here. So this one tells me I can place 2 soldiers on any of those 3 locations. And then adjacent to where I've placed those soldiers, I can place 1 single square piece that looks like this on any of those enemies. Now it's worth mentioning here that adjacency in this game is all 8 directions, not only orthogonally, but also diagonally. This dwarven bombard, this symbol here means all of these directions, not any. So in this case, I could place one symbol, a single square of this type in all 3 of those locations, should there be an enemy in those locations relative to where I've placed that tower. Now here, the archer, we don't see that explosion symbol, so this just means 1. In any of those 3 locations, I can place a 2 square piece. Or, in this case, this means targets anywhere or infinite range. I can place a 1 square piece anywhere that I'd like to, not adjacent to this space. Next is the Mage Guild. The Mage Guild is our first magic unit. This lets me put one of these 3 L-shaped pieces, but only directly in front of wherever this is placed. And finally, same thing with the Adept Guild. This is a leveled up Mage Guild. Now I'm placing a 4-piece square directly in front of that guild. And then you'll also see this plus mark book and this book with a red no sign through it. Those are going to be related to upgrades, and I'll explain the upgrades later when it's time to do them. But basically, if it has a plus upgrade, it means I can have 2 upgrades on a single card. And if it has that no upgrade, that means that card cannot hold an upgrade. So basically what I'm going to be doing on every turn is placing these towers out at these building sites. And normally in a multiplayer game, I personally am only allowed to place out buildings on the sites that match my color. But since I'm the only person playing and there are 3 colors, that's not quite how it's going to work in solo. Instead, in solo, every round I'm going to choose one of these 3 colors to ignore. It means I can only use 2 colors on any given round. But then also in addition to that, in every sort of next round, whatever color I didn't use in the previous round must be used in the next round. So if I took one round where I only used yellow and pink, in the next round I'd have to use green and then something else. So I'm going to use these to sort of help me keep track of what I've used and what I haven't used for each of the rounds. So then, in addition to placing out the towers in those locations, I can instead take one of my tower cards, basically returning it to the market to then take the next level up of that tower and place it into my incoming tower's location. So what that means is I don't get to play that tower for its use during that turn, but in the following turn I'll have a better leveled up version of that card available for me to use instead. And that's going to be incredibly important because a lot of these towers are going to be much better once they've been leveled up. Finally, the last thing I can do on this sort of playing turn is activating my hero. And I did just realize that I don't have on the table my own hero card, but this here is my own hero card. And on my turn, when I wish to activate my hero, I will simply be placing that here to show that I've already taken that, because I can only activate my hero once per round. And my hero has a couple of special powers. First off, they have what's called Wings of Light. Normally, a hero is going to enter from either of these entrance spaces and walk around the board, moving 1 space at a time per movement point that they have. Remembering again that diagonal and orthogonal are both adjacent spaces. But in the case of Deirdre, my character, it says before activating Deirdre, you may move her to any space. So she's going to teleport wherever she wants to and then move from that spot. But she's only got, as you can see here on her player board, 1 movement point. Now you might ask, if she can teleport anywhere, why would I want to move? Well, that's because certain tiles like these blossoms are activated when someone goes there, but I might want to go there and then move somewhere else to take advantage of my attack and so on. And then once you're doing that, after you've activated your character, you're going to move your character. So in her case, again, teleport and move 1 space, or up to 1 space. And then I get to choose either, or one of, a basic attack, one of my special attacks, or a rest. And the rest is basically just going to heal my health back up to full and reactivate any special attacks that I've used, because anytime I use a special attack, I will be flipping it over to deactivate that special attack until I do take a rest. Now, heroes are unique in that if a hero ends their turn, for example, on a monster like this, their space, their piece, will cover up that monster just like any of the attack tokens that I've shown you previously. But then they also have an attack in addition to wherever they're standing. So for Deirdre, this little fist here means that it could be melee or in front of or diagonally adjacent in either left or right directions. And melee means the tile that she's standing on. So I can place a 2-tile token like this on any of the tiles either where she is in front of her or to the left or right diagonally in front of her of my choice as my basic attack. In addition, she's got these 2 special attacks or special abilities. The first one says Consecration. I can return a level 1 tower on a building site adjacent to her to its owner's hand. So I can play a tower, have it attack, take her turn to play this to get that level 1 tower back, and then place it one more time to have it attack a second time, which is pretty cool, but only level 1, so not super strong. And then this ability here says Hallelujah, a hero in or adjacent to Deirdre's space, which in this case is just me because it's not really going to matter for my bench heroes. Recovers and gains defense, means I'm not going to get hurt until the end of the turn. Then I'm going to put one of those attack things in the hero's space, which is kind of cool. Because even for Deirdre, that means basically I can take a rest action without wasting my turn. And not only that, well, it won't be rest because I won't get these back, but I can recover my health and then also get defense. So usually if I was resting and I was standing on an enemy space, I'll explain in just a minute, but when you attack the enemy, you're going to take damage. But with this case, she would rest and then still be able to stand on enemy space without taking any damage. And in addition, after that turn, I would be adding a single 1-tile attack to that tile. So we're adding more attack from that as well. It's also worth mentioning she has this special ability called Holy Light, but I'll explain what that does in just a minute because the soldiers here are going to be unique as compared to the other tiles, and I want to explain those before I get into explaining her special ability. But in any case, continuing with the phases, after that we're going to destroy any horde trays that have everything on them covered. I'm going to go through quick the rest of this because I'll go back through it while I'm playing. Then any trays that haven't been destroyed will be advanced, meaning move to the next location on the map, unless there's a hero standing on top, one of these sand warriors standing on top, or one of the soldiers standing on top, in which case those things will get hurt, means killing a soldier or hurting a hero, and that unit will not advance. Then after we do that, I'm going to pick up all of the towers and hero cards in preparation for the next round. And then finally, I can spend gems to buy new towers and coins to upgrade towers. And the way that's going to work is 2 gems will let me buy any level 1 tower, and 3 gems will let me buy any level 2 tower. We can never buy level 3 or level 4 towers. We can only get to those through these sort of normal upgrade steps. And 2 coins is going to allow me to choose any of these 6 upgrades. And I'll explain what the upgrades do again once we get into that upgrade phase. So let me reset her and let me explain our scenario, because the scenario is going to add a few different things. So in the Rumble in the Jungle scenario, it says, victory condition, defeat all 3 of Fireclaw's cards and survive until the end of that round. So here in the middle of the board, this monster, Fireclaw, will never be moving around. It's going to be there the whole time. And I need to defeat all 3 of its cards in order to win the game. In addition, there are a few things that you can see here, here, and here that are added to the game for this particular scenario. During the Tower and Hero Cards phase, it says at the beginning of the phase I can move Ulrich and Sand Warriors up to 2 spaces. So they're not going to have any special attack, but wherever they're standing on will be a normal attack. And also for this game, all 3 of these pieces have protection, so they will never take any damage. Also, it says that anytime I kill one of these, I should read what it shows on the back of the card and tells me what to do next. And finally, that after advancing all of the hordes any hero that's standing on a lava space or adjacent to a lava space is going to suffer 1 damage from the volcano erupting, basically. While I'm talking about those volcanoes, I should mention here these 2 gems and these 2 coins means that anytime a hero, myself or any of the other heroes I'm using, enters that space, I will take 1 of those coins or 1 of those gems. And saying that, I also did just realize I never talked about the bench heroes. The bench heroes are one-time use. When I play my hero turn, I can choose a bench hero to play. They will start anywhere on the map I want them to, and then they will move what it shows here and do whatever it shows here. So for Saitam, he's going to move 8 times, and everywhere that he moves onto, he's going to do a single square of damage. And of course, wherever he lands, he's doing his 4 damage for being there. And then finally for Alara Wintersong, she's going to get 3 single sort of snow or ice tiles to place anywhere she wants to. So she can just sort of shoot them wherever she wants to. But then at the start of the next turn, anywhere that has 1 of those on it is going to grow more ice, basically. So I'll put an additional 2-piece anywhere I want to. And that is magic damage, whereas Saitam is normal physical damage. And then once they've been played at the start of the next round, or basically at the end of the round when we're cleaning up, their mini will come off the board and they will not be able to be activated again for the rest of the game. So they get a one-time use to do something fun, and then that's that. The last thing that I do need to mention before we get into anything are what these blossoms do and what these blue flags are for. The blossoms are very simple. When any hero walks into their location, I'm going to be able to put 2 single blossom spaces anywhere I want to, but they have to be on 2 different hordes. And then we're going to flip the blossom over so it can't attack again. But that is true damage, so I can place that anywhere I want to. And finally, these blue flags are going to be super important because I said, in order for me to win this scenario, I need to kill this monster, Fireclaw. And the only way I can damage Fireclaw is if there's a hero standing on this blue flag. So if Ulrich is standing on that blue flag, then he's vulnerable and I can hit him with normal tower and hero effects. So I need to get him to here or here and have him stay there while people are attacking there. And I did say hero, but I mean specifically only Ulrich needs to be at that location for that to happen. It's also worth mentioning again that Ulrich and both of these Sand Warriors have protection. So even though he's hanging out on this volcano, he's not taking any damage from that volcano effect. Only myself will be taking those if I ever end up in any of these surrounding areas or any of these surrounding areas around the 2 volcanoes. So with that, we are basically through the majority of the rules. I know that's a lot. You may not have followed perfectly. So I'm going to sort of slowly play through the first round, and then I'll sort of speed up a little bit as we get into the later rounds. But before I do that, let me go ahead and read the story blurb about what it is that we're doing. And it says, Scenario 3, Rumble in the Jungle. Our life-giving jungle is on fire, but it's not arsonists who set it aflame. A greater evil has settled in, defiling the lungs of our kingdom. Special forces led by Ulrich and his Sand Warriors are leaving at dawn to defeat Fireclaw, who is thought to be the leader of the magma elementals. Daredevils eager to join them will be remembered forever. And with that, we're all ready to get into gameplay. So the first thing I'm going to do is flip over these 3 cards, which is effectively the spawning new hero step of the first turn. And I will sort of explain the special unit types that show up every time I add a new unit type. All right, so now that we've seen the enemy types, I can explain a little bit more about how this game plays. When I play out tiles and my characters and anything else that we're placing on tiles to cover things up, I can place them anywhere I'd like to, covering up any of these sort of enemy spaces as well as any of the non-enemy spaces, but I can never have anything extend past the edge of a tile, and nothing can ever overlap something that's already been placed there. Otherwise, some of the unique things that we're going to see on the tiles include these guys here with the double arrow, which makes this tile a speedy or fast tile. And if any of those are still showing when it's time for the tiles to advance, any tile that has those on them still showing will advance twice. So we need to be extra careful about these because I didn't mention it before, but anytime one of these clears either of the exits of our dungeon, means move from this space or from a previous space out of the kingdom, what's going to happen is we're going to take an amount of damage equal to the number of units that are still showing on that tile. And some units will cause special damage, but right now there aren't any of those, so I'll explain those when they do come out. The other special type of unit that we see currently are these ones here that are surrounded with a green border, and these have special protection against them, and those mean that you can only hit them with your hero, a soldier. You can see probably, if you look carefully, that's a soldier icon in the top left corner. A soldier, your hero, these sand warriors, which act basically like soldiers, or anything that deals true damage can be placed on those. And remember, right now I don't have anything that can deal true damage aside from these blossoms that are already out here on the board. And again, if I cover all of the enemies on any given tile or any given tray, in the third step when we are clearing off defeated enemies, that will be removed from the game. And when it's removed from the game, we're going to get whatever the reward is up here. So green cards will always give me a coin, yellow cards will give me the option of a coin or a gem, and red cards will always give me a gem. And then in addition to those 4 cards, we have to remember that our main goal is to kill this guy, and to kill any specific card of this guy, I need to cover up all of these sort of bright squares. So all of these dark squares around the edges don't matter, including this one here, but I need to cover up all of those sort of bright squares on that tile, while again Ulrich is at either this flag or this flag for him to be sort of knocked down to the next level of damage. And again, I've got these 5 towers available to me, and I have to choose one color that I'm not using this round. And looking at what I have available to me, yellow is good for these guys. And this yellow could also hit that guy or that guy. Green is good for this stuff. This green is good for this stuff. This green is good for this stuff. But this yellow and this pink seems somewhat useless to me right now. So I definitely want to use green. And I'm not sure yellow or pink yet. It depends on what I want to defeat. So let's see what we've got available to me. I've got this Dwarven Bombard that's not very strong. It can hit 3 things for a single piece, but I'd love to start upgrading that because the higher levels get me 2 pieces that hit 3 things, or 2 pieces that can hit up to 8 different things, which are very worth having. Same thing with the Mage Guild and the Adept Guild. They're both nice to have, except that the third one, the Wizard's Tower, is basically the same as the Adept Guild, except it can hit also diagonally, and it splits that square into 2 singles and a double that I can spread out as I choose to. So I do want to upgrade some stuff fairly quickly. I don't know if I'll ever get to these level 4s, but we'll see what happens. One more thing I should point out is that she means Deirdre has a special ability, Holy Light, that I said I was coming back to. Usually when playing the regular game, if you play a tile or a tower like the Footman Barracks that places out soldiers, those soldiers will get placed on a thing, but then if they don't kill that tray, then they will take damage and will be removed from the game. So they're not going to stay on the tray where they're placed, except that Deirdre's special ability says that whenever a soldier is removed from a horde, I'm going to replace it with a single space tile. So those soldiers will be sort of staying on that location effectively with her as my character. She's also got quite a bit of health, so I'm not really worried about her dying anytime soon. So really what I'd love to do this round is spend some time upgrading. Nothing's coming out here. Stuff is coming out here. So if I can focus on getting rid of this stuff, then next time transferring over here and focusing on here while I have a little bit of a slowdown over here. And then eventually coming back and sort of figuring out what I need to do. Plus I'm starting with this and these over here, which is extra helpful. So I think I'm going to start with her, because if I teleport here with her, covering those 4 squares, then her basic attack lets her hit for 2 in front of her or either direction, here or here, so I will place 2 there. I can't cover this is not true damage, so they don't cover those green guys. Then, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only. And these guys are only moving 2 spaces. One more slight twist. So I am playing her, and I will be ending there and attacking there, but I'm actually teleporting here and then stepping here, because that means that this gets activated like that. Because now I can place out 2 single true damage pieces, which means I can place, let's say, here, and it doesn't really matter, up here. One more thing I do need to mention, and it's going to come into play potentially this round, is that when I'm placing towers at a location, I can place anything that's not a soldier tower plus 1 soldier tower in a specific location. So I can actually stack 2 towers so long as one of them is a soldier tower and one of them is a non-soldier tower, which is going to be helpful because the soldiers, again, can take out those green guys, which would be very nice to do. Which means these 2 sand guys, let's see, hold on, I'm going to slow down. He's going 1, 2 as part of her hero turn. Should have done it before her, but that doesn't change anything. He goes there, I get 1 coin. Which does mean now that this guy's vulnerable if I want to try and hit with anything. Then, do I want to try and take this guy down already? Maybe, hold on. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm thinking if I play a thing out like that, well, we'll see. I don't think so. I'm going to take, this one could only hit one of those 2 if I placed it here, because it needs to be 3 in a straight line. I could put it there. I'm always allowed to place on top of these flowers. It doesn't matter that they're there. I just can't place if there's a hero standing somewhere. If I put that there, I'd hit him for 1 and him for 1, but realistically, that's not super powerful this turn. So I'm going to upgrade that one to the Dwarven Artillery, because that will be much better. Place that there. Then, that's that. I need 2 from there. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to upgrade the Add Up Guild to a Wizard Tower. Smart or not, I don't know. Oh, no, I'm not. Not yet. Not yet, not yet. I'm going to keep that for a second. All right, so first off, I'm going to place this Mage Guild pointing down to place out 1 magic like that. And I know I'm doing things out of order. It doesn't really change things. I'm planning these sand guys are probably going to go here and here like that. No, that's a waste. One of them comes up here like that. Then my archer tower goes there. I don't like this. He's going to move twice. He's going to move once. This is going to be super full already. But I think that kind of has to happen unless... Yeah, I'm going to backtrack for a second. I can't let that happen. So I'm actually, when I played her, also playing my bench hero, this ice person. And she's going to be kind of wasted. Although, not necessarily. I could put her there. No, I'm not gonna, because he's not doing any damage to me. I'm gonna put her there. And then she hits 3 times with snow by herself. So I'm gonna put 1 there. She's not gonna stay there, so I'm gonna put 1 there. And I'm gonna put 1 over here like that. Because those are gonna spread next turn. And the reason I'm doing that is having her here, this won't move. That flips over. Then my footman, not yet, sorry, I put this here and I never used it. I got distracted. That's going to get placed there like that. And my footmen are going to go facing this way. Means both of those get placed out in these green spots, here and here like that. Whoops, like that. And then my adjacent single attack comes down here to finish that tile. And now the question is, do I upgrade this now, or do I use that to do damage to him? And I think I use that to do damage to him. So that's going to go like that. Good. And that places a magic like that in this corner. And we are done. So then this tile gets destroyed. She stays there because she does take 1 damage for being there when that happens. The Sand Warrior also stays there. And then that was a green card, so I will get 1 coin for that. And then everybody's going to advance that advances. These 2 soldiers die, but because of Deirdre's special ability, they get replaced with true damage, which can still cover those things. It doesn't move because it's got soldiers. She's gone. This doesn't move. This one moves forward once, like that. Nobody's next to lava except this guy, and he can't get hurt. So good for that. Now I'm picking up my heroes and my, hero cards, which is this, and all of my towers come back, including my new Dwarven Artillery, and this Archer. And then I get to buy towers and mods. I've got 3 gems, and I've got 5 coins. So I can upgrade twice, and I could buy 1 level 1, keeping 1 gem, or 1 level 2, using all of my gems. And right now I think I want a level 2. And I think I kind of want the footmen, because they give me flexibility. They don't fill as much stuff in. My only thought is 1 more Dwarven Artillery is not a bad idea. Yeah. Because she gets lots of stuff from the footmen with her stuff. Footmen are also not upgradable. Yeah, I'm going to take a Dwarven Artillery. It may be a waste to spend 3 right away, but I'm going to do it. Then I get to upgrade some things. So my available upgrades to me are these 6 upgrades here. This one says I get 1 additional double tile directly in front of where I placed. This extra land here allows me to place 2 of a non-soldier tile or tower with 1 soldier tower. This lets whatever I have hit anywhere I want it to. This is true damage. This means I place 1 extra tile anywhere on the board. And this lets me add 1 more soldier in any of those 3 directions. Now, I think that an additional piece is a good idea, but even more importantly, I like this anywhere thing, but not yet. I'm gonna build up my Dwarven Artillery with an additional straight on 2-piece, which means I take my Dwarven Artillery here and I add this extra piece to it. So now this one's going to shoot twice straight forward and then both left and right 1 time, which is pretty useful, I think. Also, last turn I didn't use the pink spaces, so I have to use pink for this turn. I'm done with, no, that was 1 upgrade. I can buy 1 more upgrade, and I definitely should do so. I'm going to add, nothing right now, but I should. No, I'm gonna hold off, because if I can upgrade something before if I can level something up before I add 1 of those upgrades, that would not be a bad idea. So let's do that. Means we go to the next round where we spawn things. This one is nothing, so it's simply removed from the game. This one does spawn like that. This one then spawns next right here. Then finally, this one then spawns right here like that. And with that, we do have a couple of new enemy types. This one is just those special attack types that can only get covered by soldiers, heroes, sand warriors, or true magic. These are sort of a double thing that I should explain both things at the same time. First off, this is a 4-spaced enemy, which means if any piece of this is uncovered when this tray moves off the board, I will take 4 damage. So even if it's covered 3 spaces, I will still take 4 damage for simply having that 1 space uncovered. Then, this purple with the sort of armor symbol means that these are tough enemies, which means each square of this 2x2 square must be covered by a different something. Doesn't need to be a different type of something. I could have 4 single square pieces of the same type of damage, but each space has to be covered by a different physical component. Then over here on this tray, this blue outline with the magic symbol simply means that those spaces must be covered by either magic or true damage. And it's also worth pointing out that heroes themselves count as true damage, so they could stand on those as well. But again, for these tough, even for a hero, I could only use the hero to cover 1 square of that tough enemy. I cannot cover the entire tough enemy with a hero. It is worth mentioning, though, that something like this could be covered, say, using this L shape in this way, so that this tile has 1 piece of that monster and 1 piece of that monster, but neither of them has more than 1 square of this tile on it. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get into the next round. I'd really like to kill this guy off this turn. I really like to kill that potentially, but I've got lots of work to do over here that worries me. Because I can see that both of these will spawn next time and I only have 1 space free. So I need to at least kill 1 of these, and if I can kill 2 of those, yes, that would be a good thing to do. And over here, I'm going to spawn once, and this does nothing, so I'm not too worried about over there. I'd also like to get moving on this thing. So what I'm going to do is, first off, sorry, before I do anything else, the 3 locations that contain the ice damage from Alara last round will now get 1 of these double pieces placed on it. And that is a little bit of a mistake. But that's okay, I'll do that. And then I'll do that. And whoops. I can't put on that green guy, I'll just stick that one over there like that to the side. And I was originally planning on having my hero come here, but because of this 2 space and there's no way for me to put that doesn't waste 1 space, I think I'm going to try doing that a different way. What I'm going to do is, activating my hero, she's going to teleport here. No, she's not. She's going to teleport here, activating that bud, which places out 2 true damage somewhere, which I'm going to place out here and here like that. And then she's going to take her 1 movement to move here, and I'll just stick her up here in the corner. And if I have her face this way and make her basic attack, she can hit this guy like that. And I think that's not a bad option. Then, I like this area. And I'm seeing green is here and green is by this boss guy. So I'm actually going to be activating pink and green this round. And I will take first this Dwarven Artillery that hits double when it goes straight. And I'm going to put it, green or pink. I'd rather hit double here, I think. Because what that does then is it lets me kill the bad guy, place more on my tile, then place 1 over here. I'll stick that out like that. And I may regret this turn, but we'll see. I may end up using retconning for a minute to go back and use this guy. Again, the order of things is such that I'm supposed to do everything when I do my hero, but realistically it's all happening at the same time, so it doesn't really matter that much. Because I am going to be crazy, and I don't know if this is good or not, but I'm upgrading my Dwarven Artillery to a Dwarven Howitzer. Because that's going to be huge if I can get that out. Because like in a location on this board, there are a couple places like here that could hit 4 different things if I timed it right. Or here, same thing, 4 different things. Or more realistically, if I got that with the anywhere target, I can call the center anywhere, and I could say, for example, place it here and hit all of those, or place it, here and hit all of those. We'll see what happens, but I think that's probably not a bad idea. Then I need to focus on killing some things. And I think, yes, as expected, I am going to do that. Because if I use him right now, his ability is that he gets dropped somewhere and then moves 8 times, and everywhere he enters, he's going to place a single damage. So I can like drop here and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or something like that, and place out all of my things. And wherever he stops as well. And I want him to stop here. Put on each horde he moves into. I'm not 100% sure on this if the first initial placement anywhere counts as a move, but let's say that it doesn't. So I'll start here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Each of them gets 1. 4, 5, 6. Each of them gets 2, 7, 8. So these get 2, this gets 3, and this one gets 1 more than I've already done. Like that. So I'm going to place 2 here, and 3 there. And they're physical, so I can't cover up the green ones, but those can go there like that. Those 2 can go there like that. 1, 2, 3 on this one. Well, if that's an L shape, put 1 there. This could be a 2 thing. It doesn't matter, 2 and 3 like that. Then I'm not placing in yellow. That's fine. What else can I do? I need to place here. I need to get this one and this one going, and I don't see how that's going to happen right now. Soldiers, but I don't have that many soldiers. They're going to move, they're going to move, they're going to move, they're going to move. Everybody's moving. This is stuck because of him. This one is stuck. I'm going to move that. It doesn't matter where I put him. Like that, it won't move. Then, I got some yuck stuff here. I got some real yuck stuff here. 1, 2. Oh, wait a minute. This is the double one, so I should have 1 more there. Which still isn't great. But that's okay. Then I'm going to place that one there. To place that like that. It's not going to die, but the next round it'll be easy to kill it. Yeah. Footmen go there. Which means I'm going to place one of them here and one of them here. I do that because this is going to become a real thing. But so would the other. Anyway, then that goes there. Which means I'm going to upgrade my Adept Guild to a Wizard Tower. Again, maybe not the smartest right now, but that's okay. Then I place my Archer Tower somewhere. I don't care where. Because I want to kill this one. So I'm going to place it that way. But I'm using the Anywhere ability to simply place one long distance arrow right there, like that. And that's the end of our round. So we're going to kill some things. This one dies. He comes off forever. She stays there and takes 1 damage. which means I get 1 crystal from this red card that I just put away. Not enough to do anything with it, but it's nice to have right now. And this guy dies. So we're going to read what happens when this guy dies in just a second. But let me clear that off first. And then flipping over the card, it says, as Ulrich pours the elixir into the lava pool, your towers shatter part of the flame claw and it retreats for a moment. This may just work. Return the lava pool, all crystal, gold, and objective tokens in Ulrich's space to the game box. Place both sand warriors in Ulrich's space. But I just... this is kind of going to be cheating. Because I just realized 2 things. Yeah, no, I'm not going to cheat. But I will cheat slightly in that on his turn he had the ability to move 2 spaces. I would have gone 1, 2 so I can get that second coin. But I do realize then that I was very stupid because I should not have let her stop there because that's adjacent to a lava. She's going to take 1 more damage and that's going to kill her. Yeah, that was a mistake. I didn't pay attention, but it is what it is. Yeah, damn. Okay, but now you get to see what happens when a hero dies. But in the meantime, it says from this space, I'm removing that lava type token. I'm removing that objective token. And then both of the sand warriors are going to go back to his space, which is also really big problem-ish. Because now this guy is coming here. This guy is fast, comes here, right? They were both fast, so 1, 2, and then 1, 2. He goes there. Then over on this side of the board, this one moves 1, this one moves 1. This soldier dies, but I get to replace it with a true damage, so that's fine. But then it says, after Horde's advance, all heroes adjacent to lava pools suffer 1 damage. She is adjacent to that, so she's actually coming back here and dying, which means I get to show you what happens when that happens. But what that means is she's out for 1 turn, which is gonna be huge right now because I've got this mess that's happening big time over here. But anyway, you'll see what happens. That is the end of that round. Now I get to return all of my towers. So I've got these guys up here. And that means I've also now got my wizard's tower and my dwarven howitzer. And this is going to be all filled up. I have enough to buy 2 upgrades. And let's see what I want to do with it. First off, I want to make my wizard's tower. And wizard's towers can have 2 things on them if I want them to, or if they want to. And I'm going to make those, first off, I'm going to add a hit anywhere symbol to that wizard's tower. So that means that their attack now, as you can see, is now in infinite range. So I can hit anywhere with 1 double and 2 single tiles. And then I think I'm going to make my dwarven howitzer have true damage. Because that means I can hit any space on any tile anywhere. Is it worth it? I don't know yet because I could upgrade it to a dwarf. But I don't know that I'm going to have the time to. No, you know what? I'm not, because I might upgrade it to a dwarf later and I don't want to lose that thing. Which means what I'm going to do instead is I'm actually going to make that same wizard's tower become true damage. And I don't have any crystals to buy. Well, 1 crystal is not enough to buy anything else new. So that is the end of the round. We go back to the beginning of the first, or of the next round, and we spawn. So here, this green guy comes out like that. Next, over here, nothing happens. This goes bye-bye, like that. This number 3 guy is going to come right here, like that. And finally, this guy over here as well is coming out. And we can see that the next round there's an event that's going to happen, and we'll have to read what that means in just a second. But now we've got 1.5 new enemy types. I say half because this one's not really a new enemy type. It's just a 4 space. I can cover all 4 of those with a single tile, but if I don't cover any one of those or more than one of those, That will be 4 damage if it leaves the board. And this card right here has a magic barrier, meaning that no enemy on this card can be hit by a magic attack if it's coming from either the right side or the left side of this card, because it's effectively blocked off by those barriers. All right, so taking a look then at what we've got going on here. First off, she can't do anything this turn, which is sad, because all she's doing is recovering. I have to use yellow this turn. And seeing what I've got, I don't like it. Because I really want to use green so I can hit all of that stuff. Particularly because I didn't give the howitzer the hit everywhere thing like I wanted to. I gave it to the wizard tower instead, which looking now might be a problem. I've got 1 thing spawning here, 2 things spawning here, which is okay if I can get rid of that thing. Because this thing is causing a problem, because that's going to teleport instantly out like that. Or I just need realistically to do enough damage to this so it doesn't kill me when it leaves. As long as nothing else leaves for the rest of the game, I can have 1 leave. So I think right now green is more important than yellow. No, I mean pink. Yeah, this green's going to hit a bunch of stuff. And this green's going to hit a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I got to take green. I got to stay away from the upgrade thing for a minute, I think. My howitzer goes there. Because now all 4 of those get hit with a 2 regular attack, or 2 whatever, artillery attack. That's not true damage though, so that's going to go there. I don't know, that'll go there. This one clearly goes there because that dies, which is great. Hold on a minute. Yeah, that's not great. Okay. And then over here, that works like that. This one's dead. Then, I think my dwarven artillery also has to come right there, which means I get 2 on this and then 1 on each of those. So I'll put a 2 there, a 2 there. It's a little bit of a shame that I'm spreading everything out because it's going to be harder to fill things in. This one's annoying because, well, it's annoying. That can go there because this can't be true damage. I really wish I had made that one true damage. I didn't. So, doesn't matter how it gets placed, we'll do that. Like that. And actually, that wizard tower is going to take this out. Okay, then, let's pick a spot that I don't care about anything. This yellow. I place the wizard tower there. It can hit anywhere, 1 double blue and 2 single blues like that. Because what that means is 1 double blue goes there because this is now true damage. And a single blue goes there like that. I'll hit, doesn't really matter what I do down that corner. I need to kill something, and this is the one that I should be aiming to kill. So I might as well put a true damage there, because I can. Then I've got 3 more things. I wouldn't mind upgrading something, but I don't think this is the turn to do it. Placing in green and yellow means I've got this spot, got this green spot up here, and I've got this yellow spot up there, which stinks for this one. Yeah, that stinks all around, realistically. Hold up. We got problems if I do that. Where's yellow? Yellow's here. I have to use yellow, that's the problem. Yeah, I have to use yellow. Which means I gotta change some things up here. Not really. This can go here. I don't like it, but it does damage there. Otherwise, I can upgrade it. Do I want to upgrade it now? Yeah, why not? Why not? All right, we're going to upgrade the Mage Guild to an Adept Guild. Then I need to do some damage to stuff. I'd love to do some damage here, but I need to get this down so that it does only 4 damage or less to me. And right now it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need to get at least 2. Oh, that's easy. These guys are moving. I want him all the way over here to make him vulnerable again, which stinks because we don't really have the ability to get anywhere. At least that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 3 turns. So this first turn is nothing, but he has to move 2 spaces or I'm done. So he's going to go there. These guys will both come down here, like that. In which case the footmen are going to go here. Means both of the footmen go onto this space. And their single adjacent is going to go up here somewhere. Like that. In my archer tower, just to save myself a little bit of health. Yeah, there's nowhere else for it to go. I could put it here and hit this guy. But that's not really all that helpful. Yeah, no. This is going to do 4 damage. Do I want to make the 4 damage 3 damage, or would I rather upgrade the tower? I think I'd rather upgrade the tower, and I just have to work that nobody else ever gets out. So that gets upgraded to that. We kill some things. This tray is done, which means that gets placed back, and I get 1 coin. And this tray right here is done. Had to be, or we were in big trouble. Which means that goes back and I get a coin or a gem. I want a gem. I don't know if I'm using it right now or saving it one more round to get a level 2, but we'll see. Then things advance. Ah, damn it. No, 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 no. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work at all. That doesn't work at all. Yeah, I'm going to cheat then. Because what that means is then, this didn't go here. It went here. Those 2 guys, as much as I wish they did, go here. No, they can't go here. That sword comes here. These guys didn't go there. Let's say they're here instead. And then I didn't upgrade that archer. I put it out. So that marksman didn't get upgraded. I put the archer out because I'm using a single one here like that so that this is 4 and it does move because I need this to move. Because if it doesn't move, that's going straight out and killing me. So this, now we're advancing. This one advances out. And from there I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 damage. So I'm down to 1 health. Which is going to have to be okay. Then, this one doesn't move, but these guys come off, and I place damage where they both were, like that. This one does move there. Coming over here, closest to the entrance first. This one moves there. This one moves there. And now here, this one moves there. Like that. Yes. Then we can upgrade or buy things. 2 crystals. Buys me any level 1 thing that I could possibly want. I don't think I do. I'm going to hold off and hope I can get a level 2 next time. Yeah. Okay, then we spawn. This one comes here, like that. this one spawns here like that. This one spawns here like that. And this one is an event, so nothing spawns. Now the event card is nothing, it just says check the event text in the rulebook. And looking at the rulebook, scenario 3, event A says, our allies are seemingly overwhelmed by hordes. We should give them a chance to catch a breath. Sand warriors lose protection until the end of this round. That's not great. That means if these guys are on a tray from this round, or just this round, not from this round, they will be killed. They cannot stay on a tray without dying. Also, we've got one new enemy type here, and this is just, these need to be hit with regular physical damage. Also, I should have pulled off all these towers, but I'll do that. Go ahead and do that right now. Add up guild. Wizard's Tower, Archer Tower, Dwarven Howitzer. Good thing is I get my hero back this turn. And looking at what's going to happen, this side spawning 2, this side spawning 2. Means I need to kill at least 1 on this side and at least 2 on this side. Which should be doable, but I can't let them be involved. And the one I kill has to be him, unless he doesn't move and this one dies. So I want my person, my girl, over this side, potentially. Yes, okay. Then, we're taking my hero turn. Means he's gonna go 1, 2, which means he triggers that blossom, which is nice to do. So I can place out 2 of those, and I'm gonna place them out here on this tile like that, because this will be the one that we hopefully kill off. Then she gets to take her thing, flying somewhere and then moving once. I don't really care where she flies or moves. She's gonna land here. No, up here, yeah, up there. Facing this way so that her basic attack can attack here. She does have magic, so I'll use that to cover this. These guys are moving off to here just because, so they don't die. Then I need to start killing things. I must use pink. Anything else is good, but I must use pink, and I think green has to happen so I can pummel this again with my Dwarven Artillery or Howitzer. Yeah, let's do that. Howitzer goes here, hits those 4. Yeah, sure. I can't hit him right now anyway because I'm not on a thing, so that's fine. This one is a bit of a shame. Yeah, that's a shame, but that's okay. Like that. Like that. Like that. And again, this can't cover true damage. Good. Then, my wizard tower can go anywhere. And I'm using green and pink. Where do I want to put my wizard tower? True damage anywhere, but get it out of the way. This is a problem. Do I not use green? I think I not use green because he's blocking a green space. Let's do this instead. Move this one over 1. Hold on. I'm undoing that. I don't remember which one I placed, but they're both the same. So I'll take that, I'll take that, I'll take that, and I'll take, no, that wasn't the one. It was a useless one, that one. Yeah, let's think about that again, because that's not smart. I'm not using green. I'm using yellow because of this guy's in the way. In which case, I can hit these 2, I can hit these 2. If I place there, I can hit 3. If I place there, I can hit 3. Yeah, then I'm going to put the Dwarven Howitzer there instead. So he hits here once, here once, and here once like that. Then My Dwarven artillery then can go there, which is useless, or here. Let's go there. 2 straight and 1 over. I can hit this guy twice, like that, and 1 goes there, like that. Then, pink and yellow is what I'm aiming for. So I just need to bury my wizard tower somewhere. It doesn't matter, and I think that might be here. 2 singles and a double from that wizard tower. And those are true, so I'm going to put 1 there, 1 there. What else do I have coming out? Not a whole lot of much. We're looking like we're a little bit in trouble, but that's okay. I may have to kill one of my sand guys. Yeah, I'm going to put that there. And then, this is not easy. Okay. Then this guy is gonna come here like that, which lets me put 2 knights somewhere I want to. I don't really care where. How about here and here? And then 1 attack from them goes here, so that's dead. And looking at pink and yellow, this can come here and hit 4 there, which is a little bit of a waste. Although, this is trickier, and it's gonna move. But I can't place that to hit there, so it's gotta hit here. Yeah, then that's a mistake. I gotta put that there to cover the faster. I'm in trouble. When this Dwarven howitzer hit, it hit that way instead. Has to. I'm dead. I don't need this. This was a mistake. That was a mistake. I play that one there, because that keeps them from moving. And if I play that there, it's gonna go there. Like that. But then I can't kill this. I see what no, I can't do that. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna have to sacrifice one of those guys, unfortunately. Yeah, that's the best I'm gonna do. But then this doesn't die. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I don't care where this gets placed, I'll place it here. I might as well use the double even. It's not a double that covers there, and that's the round. Wow. That's not good, but it worked, kind of. Okay, then things get killed. So from this one, she gets hurt, and this sand guy gets killed, unfortunately. But I do defeat that tray, which puts that back and gets me 1 coin. Then over here, this tray is dead. This goes back and I get a gem or a coin. I want that gem badly. Then advancing. This one doesn't move because of the soldier. That gets placed there. This one doesn't move because of the soldier. That gets placed. I don't remember where I put it, but there. This one does move, which means he's got to run away somewhere that there's nothing. The only place that is right here. Then from the 3 path, this one goes here, this one goes here, this one goes here, and now I can upgrade. I am definitely buying a level 2 something for 3 gems. I'm thinking Dwarven artillery, but I think I can't. I need the footmen. I need more soldiers. I have to. And then leveling something up. I'm gonna take that extra soldiers, because they mean something for me. And I'll place it. I can't upgrade a footman. Let me get all my towers back and see what I want. Dwarven, wizard, Adept, artillery. The archer tower is not a bad one to place, but I think my dwarven howitzer to be able to also play a soldier is not a bad thing. Let's do that. That takes my 2 coins back again. Sorry, I'm missing my other footman. Like that. Then we spawn. She's gonna have to disappear one, so she'll just move there for right now. When this guy comes here, and we see there's another event coming up next time, and I'll tell you, I know that the event is the same because the book said A/B, so that's gonna mean they're vulnerable next turn. He's got to run away again, which goes there. Places this one out like that. This one goes here. Wow, we've got a magical and a physical 4 now. This one goes here. Like that. Yeah, this is looking real bad because if I don't kill 2 things on both sides, we're in trouble. And I don't think I'm focused on him right now. I don't know that this is gonna work out, but let's see what happens. Yeah, okay. Then I have to play on green, which is fine because I'm gonna pepper this with a howitzer. Cool. And pink or yellow at this point doesn't really mean much except that, do I want to hit here more or do I want to hit here more? Pink and pink is here. Huh. I think I'm okay anyway, but let's see what happens. Let's start with the dwarven howitzer that goes here. So I place out 4 of those double pieces, which means 1 here, 1 here. Ah, that's annoying because I can't place it on any true damage spaces like that. And then here, doesn't matter. Let's do it that way. And also place out 1 soldier from him. And at this point, it doesn't matter too much where it goes. I gotta get rid of this one or make sure it doesn't move either way. Actually, doesn't move might be the option, as these 2 are gonna be easier to kill. My soldier can go anywhere. There. Then, yeah, I think it's just gonna put him there. Yeah, all right, that comes off, but it's gonna activate now. And I was gonna use him to go there, but I think there's no reason to be there when he's can't get attacked. I'm gonna go there. Do that. Send him here just to block the movement of that thing. She's gonna go 1, well, it doesn't matter, teleport wherever she wants to, which is gonna be right there, facing that way. Yeah, I don't know if I can take that one out though. No. There. I think. 1, 2, yeah, that's gonna take 6 hits to take that out. She's gonna go there. I was gonna put her, yeah, it doesn't matter. All right, then she's magical, so she can hit that anyway. Like that. Then, yeah, this is yuck. How do I hit that? That's physical only. Lots of soldiers, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No. But that's fast. That's okay. I'm going to do that instead. She's still attacking there. Then, magic goes somewhere. Pink or yellow or green. Doesn't matter pink or yellow, I think. Let's do pink. I'm going to use this pink. But I get to shoot anywhere I want to. So I'm going to put, and these aren't going to block me because I'm shooting from any direction I want to. That's an anywhere thing. I'm going to put one there, one there, and one over here in that little magic spot like that. Then, that means I'm using pink. Then my adept guild has to come here to play a big 4 in that corner like that. Dwarven artillery is either going to come here or over here. I need to finish that one. This one's impossible. Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. This one I could do. But I need 2 things. I think this might be the end of the game, guys. But let's see what we got. That's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I gotta play that there. I'm out of things though. So I'm just gonna switch to arrows, and if I'm wrong that I'm not allowed to sub things in, then I'll fix it, but I'm pretty sure that's normal. So I'm just gonna use arrows to represent this artillery for now. He shoots twice this way. 1, 2 like that, and 1 over here like that. Because then this archer goes here, which places 1 arrow here. These footmen also go there, which means that I can place 2 footmen there, and then 1 regular attack from them over there. And then these footmen come over here. I'm 1 short. I'm 1 short. That means 1, 2, and then 1 in adjacent space, which is here. I need 1 more. I need 1 more. I can't. I fail badly. Yeah. I think that's the end of my playthrough, unfortunately, because this guy's going to kill me. Well, it doesn't move, so what's going to kill me is... Oh, no, there's only 1 coming out. Okay, we're okay. We're okay. I don't like what I've done then, but we're okay. All right, then that's fine. Then this one dies, which gets me a coin or a crystal. I'm going to take the crystal because I need more stuff now and upgrades are running out. Then this one dies, which gets me a coin. This one dies, which gets me a crystal or a coin. I'm taking the crystal. Then, advancing. This one doesn't advance. She takes 1 damage. Those soldiers become individual things, like that. This one moves. Yeah, then that changes my mind. I'm sorry if I'm cheating, that's okay. I put the soldiers there, here, and that thing. So instead I put the soldiers here, and 1 thing there. So 1 of those is not there. 1 of those should be the sword from the soldier, which can't go on those spots. Which means that there was a soldier here. Oh, wait a minute. No. Yeah. No, that's fine. I put a soldier here and a soldier here. That's fine. And the extra attack went there, so that's not speedy. That's fine. Okay, so that stayed there. And the only thing that happened was 1 soldier went here instead of here, so that damage goes there. That's fine. So this moves 1 space then. But we're still dead. Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing I could do because now this one goes out of the game. And yep, that's the end of my playthrough, which is fine. You got to see how the game played. You got to see pretty much all there is to the game. And unfortunately, I'm not very good at this game, and this game is very hard. So that's a good place to play so I don't push myself and make you watch me struggle for another hour. But that is the game. This is the part of the video where I do like to talk about components. Basically, all of the components you've seen in this playthrough are the components that exist in this game. I am a big fan of the artwork in this game. It is kind of, well, it is based on an app. So everything is very much that sort of poppy, colorful, simple icon app style artwork. But I'm okay with that. It looks cool, it's cute. The individual characters have cool artwork. I do really like the minis. Let me show you the ones that I've got out, and then I'll grab some more. The minis, I don't know how well they're going to show up on camera, especially unpainted, but they are very cool, not super, detailed sculpts, but they are definitely very interesting, different looking characters. While I'm showing you the minis, let me show you some of the others. This is the other one-player character that you didn't get to see in my play today. And then there are also these two enormous monsters that I haven't yet fought in my plays, but they're really, really cool sculpts. This monster also has little tentacle minis that go out on the board as well. Really, really cool cartoony art design that I do really appreciate. The little wooden bits, the soldiers and the sand warriors, also cool little sculpts. Nothing special, but they're unique shapes and they're easy to see. All of the different components, all of the different tiles, the colors pop, the different designs on them are very easy, very clear to distinguish between them, to see which ones are which. Just everything looks really cool. Again, all of the different shapes and colors, they all have a symbol in the corner too, so if the color's not good enough, you can tell what they are also by the symbol that's printed in the corner. I love that the upgrades are these sort of vinyl stickers, like those window cling stickers that do stick very nicely to this little book, and then also do stick really nicely to these cards, because that means you can sticker them while you're playing, but then they clean off very easily. These building sites being these clear tiles are cool in the fact that they do overlay the board, but with all of the busy artwork behind them, sometimes it's a little hard to see them. They don't pop as well as they could. Unfortunately, at least that's how I feel. This tray system is very, very clever. I love that these things all fit in trays, because if you were trying to pick up the card with all of those tiles on it and sliding it around, it wouldn't work. But having it here like this, that you can just sort of move and everything stays the way it is as it's moving around, is a very cleverly designed system, and it works very well in the game. Let me show you the other 4 characters. I'm not going to show you all the different cards and different tiles and so on, because some of the fun of this game is sort of exploring and discovering the other enemies as you get into the game. So I'm not going to show off any of the other stuff that's not in the game that I just played. But here are the other characters. Alara Wintersong is all ice-based. She has a basic attack that's a double and a single, and just like her sort of bench character thing, her special ability is that at the beginning of every activation, anything that has her ice on it will grow 2 more ice on it. So it's this cool sort of growing thing every turn. Saitam, this is the guy you saw me use as my other bench guy. His base attack is just a 2 green that is melee, means only on the space where he's standing. But then after he does damage, he can run away. So that means that he could hit somebody and leave and not have to worry about taking damage from being on there. And also every time, for this case, not moves into but leaves a tile, he drops 1 damage. So he can hit somebody and then run 2 spaces away and deal some additional damage as he's running. That's pretty cool. This is Ulrich. He wasn't playable in this scenario because he was sort of a special NPC, but Ulrich has an L-shaped basic attack that is melee, means it only hits his own space. He also has those 2 sand warriors as we did in this playthrough, but in the regular game, not only do they have their own protection, but if you want to, you can sacrifice one to give protection to a hero that's in the space with them, which is pretty cool. So he's got a little bit of extra defense in the game. And it's worth mentioning that when they do sacrifice themselves to prevent damage to him or to another hero, they then will later come back into play whenever he rests. So that's cool. You can kind of keep pulling them back in. Whereas they just died as the NPC characters in the scenario I just played now. And finally, the last character is this one. Yeah, I probably should have played with them because they are purple Bruxa or Bruja. I don't know how that X is meant to be pronounced. Their basic attack is just a double purple. But she's got these sort of dark secret tiles or tokens. And she doesn't have any at the beginning of the game. But anytime a horde means a Trey is killed next to her, you put one of those tokens up on there. And then at the beginning of her turn, every skull that she has, she gets to put one tile out on something that adjacent to her. So she needs to sort of be in and around the death stuff, and then she gets to build up that death to sort of cause more chaos moving forward. It's pretty cool, but it takes a little bit more planning than some of the other characters. Aside from that, that's basically pretty much all I need to show you for components, aside for some more cards, which are these bigger sort of player aid cards and a couple more towers that I didn't get a chance to look at. But I'm not going to spoil, not really spoiler, but I'm not going to show off anything more because, again, it is fun to sort of discover this, as it is a sort of scenario-based campaign, kind of, which means you do kind of get to not unlock, but at least discover new things as you're playing through. So I think part of the fun is the discovery. So I want to show you the insert for the box because it does come with a custom insert, but I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. All of the minis fit in here. The two big bosses that I showed you go in there. And there is a vacuform lid that goes on top of that. The only problem with that is the 4 heroes here aren't really marked in any way. And if you don't get them in exactly the right way, they don't really fit underneath this vacuform lid. Down in here, I put some of the extra little tiles like the exits and the colored gems and so on all get stuck down in there. And then, this is one of my biggest concerns or complaints about this insert, is that on top of that is this little cup that slots nicely down in there. And I think that this is supposed to be used for sort of all of the different attack tiles, basically all go in there. But if you do that, they're all sort of mixed together. So I've been separating them all into baggies. But if you put them all into baggies, they don't all fit in here. So I have to put a couple of small baggies in here, and I have to kind of squeeze some extra small baggies down into that hole so that everything fits. So it's not the prettiest sort of way to store everything, but you could just kind of dump all the damaged tiles in there and then just sort of dump them back out on your table or sort of dig through there looking for what you need when you're playing the next time. And that's my biggest issue with this insert. But otherwise, the numbers for the spawns go down into this little slot perfectly. These hold all the small square tiles like the blossoms and the volcanoes you just saw. All of the player powers fit very nicely in there. And then on top of that, all of the longer cards fit in there in that sort of cutout. And on top of those cards, the player boards fit real nicely in there. Down in this hole, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but all of the heart damage tokens fit in a little well. And then on top of that, all of these small cards go in there. And then on top of that, all of the green trays can fit right in there, stacking up, filling in there. Down in here, I put all of the other little things like the objective tokens that you saw before, these ones here, and all of the gold and crystals or gems go down in there. The baggie that has all of my building locations fits in here. You can see it's a little bit wider at that location. So they fit in at that wider location. And then this section here fits in all of the player cards and all of the different enemy spawn cards and so on. Fill in when everything's in there, fill in this box pretty well. Then you can see over here in this little slot, the longer 3x1s fit perfectly in there. And then there's a set of 2x1s and 1x1s that fit sort of alternating in here however you'd like to put them. And then there is a lid that goes on top of there. This is another small complaint of mine. This lid has a little bit of an edge on the corner and it just barely fits the box. So every time I put this back in, it kind of does a little bit of damage to the inside of the box, but that does mean when it's in there, it's very nicely secured in there. And then in those lips, you can put the big 3x3 tiles, fit nicely in there, and then all of the rules fit on top of that. And the game box does close pretty well. So overall, it's not a bad insert, but again, this thing scratches up the box quite a bit. It's not the easiest to get in and out. And this storage system for the damaged tiles or the different polyomino tiles in there is also not the greatest solution, but it's functional and it's probably better than a big empty box full of baggies, so I give them that at least. That's basically all I've got to show you for the components. Meet me back up top and I'll let you know what I think about the game itself. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. Before I get into my thoughts on the game, I just want to talk about a few more things about the components and the insert that I missed during my components overview. The first thing is, I had never played any of the scenarios at that point with the sort of large monster or enemy minis, and when I went to put them back into the box after giving you the overview of the components, I noticed that there are large sort of troughs underneath those two minis, which means a lot of the extra tiles that I said couldn't really fit very well into the box now have some extra storage space into the box, and I have managed to fit things a little bit better than I thought I could originally. The other thing I want to point out is this right here. As this game is based on a mobile app, which generally have sort of levels that you unlock and you get star ratings on each one. This one also has different difficulty levels and also additional challenges you can add to each of these scenarios. And the game does come with a map that shows each of those different scenarios. And then there are stickers in the box. So as you sort of clear each scenario at each different difficulty level, you can put the sort of sticker associated with that level and sort of unlock the levels just like you would if you were playing a mobile game. So I wanted to point that out because that is a pretty cool component that is added into the box. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and get into how I feel about this game. And this is going to be a bit of an interesting one for me to discuss because my brain is sort of all over the place with this game, and I sort of want to walk you through the way that I'm feeling about this game, but also talk about what this game does well, because ultimately this game didn't work perfectly for me, but I think that there are people out there who this game will work very well for. So I want to sort of do my best to share my thoughts, but also point out the sort of pros of this game. But the first thing I want to point out is one of the biggest negatives of this game in the rule books that come in the box for this game. There are actually 3 books that come in the game. There's a rule book with scenario book sort of in one book as the sort of main instructional document or documentation in the box. Then there's a glossary that sort of goes through in more detail all of the different tile types, all of the different enemy types, all of the different tower types, all of the different player abilities, and so on. And then finally, on top of that, there's a sort of tutorial guide that sort of walks you through what should be your first play of the game. And the first thing I'm going to tell you right now is throw that tutorial guide away as soon as you open the box, because all it's going to do is confuse you. Basically, the tutorial tries to walk you through your first play of the game, but on several instances then tells you to refer back to the rule book. But then, if you read the rule book and you understand the actual rules and come back to the tutorial, you'll suddenly be confused because the tutorial actually throws away half of the rules to sort of slowly introduce pieces of the game. And it's very confusing because it's not following the rules of the game and it doesn't really do what it wants you to do. It's just kind of trying to introduce the mechanisms, but realistically it just confuses things more. And it's really not that hard to understand the first scenario in the game because, and I'll talk a little bit more about this later, the scenarios do a pretty good job of sort of starting with the core game and then slowly adding in more and more mechanisms and more twists to the sort of core gameplay loop as you progress through the scenarios in the box. So realistically, the tutorial is more confusing than helpful, and it's not really all that necessary in the game. Now, as far as the regular rulebook goes, it's not horrible, but it's definitely not one of the best rulebooks I've read. It sort of walks you through the basic rules of the game, the basic flow of the game. Then it sort of walks you through how to set up a scenario in general. And then it gets into each individual scenario that tells you how to set up that individual scenario piece. But then some of the clarification of rules are introduced more specifically inside the scenario where they first appear. So they're not really in the main rules, they're sort of in the scenario at which point they get released, or introduced. Which means in later scenarios, for example in scenario 4, the second time I had one of these sort of boss characters, I think they're called champions, in the game, it then said go back to scenario 2 and read the rules about how we introduce the champions in that scenario. So there's lots of refer to this, refer to that from that. You don't know enough here, but you'll learn more later, then you have to figure out referring back again, and there's just a little bit of confusion about the flow. And also having the scenario book inside the same book as the rule book means you can't sort of look at both at the same time. You got to kind of keep flipping back from page to page to find all the information you need. And then sometimes the clarification is not even in that book because it's in the glossary. So then you got to find it in the glossary and figure out how it works. And the rules are all there. It's really not that hard to understand, but sometimes it's hard to figure out where you should be looking for what. If you need to refer to rules, where you should find those reference. Often the glossary is the answer because that's what the glossary is for. But realistically, the flow of how everything connects together could have been done quite a bit better in the rules, and it did take a little bit of effort for me to learn originally, especially with that sort of strange tutorial book included in the box as well. Enough about the rules, though. Let's talk about the game itself. First off, the sort of core mechanism here is a tower defense style game in which waves of enemies are coming in, and you sort of have to survive through the enemies by placing out towers that attack the enemies sort of in different patterns, meaning patterns of polyomino shapes that get laid on top of the enemy, but also each different kind of tower has rules about where it can aim, about what size, what shape of polyomino you're placing. But then also in addition to that, you're sort of limited to where you can place them first based on where those building sites are located, but then in a solo game, also knowing that you can only place on 2 of the 3 colors each round, and then each round you have to use the one that you didn't place the time before. So it's not just about using the right towers to hit the right enemies. It's not just about finding the best placement for those towers to hit the right enemies. It's then also being able to place them in different places and not being able to place them in different places each round. That adds to this puzzle of how do I best use my towers to sort of attack these different enemies that are coming in. And ultimately, the core mechanism in this game is that of survival. You're really not trying to kill everything. You're just trying to make it through to either the end of all of the enemies coming through, or to finish whatever the scenario is at the end. But I say that in some of the cases, you will have to destroy everything in order to win. So it depends on the scenario you're playing, whether you have to last a certain number of rounds, whether you need to wipe everything off of the map, whether you need to kill a specific sort of bad guy or boss or what have you. And the scenarios are going to switch things up, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But I want to focus more on this sort of core mechanism of the placement of towers, of the polyomino placement out. Because I do really enjoy this aspect of the game, and I do think it's designed very interestingly and very well. I do tend to be a fan of spatial puzzles. I do tend to be a fan of tile-laying kinds of games. So this idea of how do I best place out my towers in order to make the best patterns of these pieces on the enemies so that I can remove the enemies is a very interesting spatial puzzle, and I do enjoy this quite a bit. And then add to that the fact that each round you get to activate your hero. And your hero is going to do an attack or a special attack, plus be able to actually physically stand on one of these enemies and fill in 4 of those spaces. So you have to figure in your hero as to where they can stand and also where they can hit. And also some of the heroes have the ability to do things along the way. For example, Saitam has the ability to sort of drop off 1 damage everywhere he's running around. So each of these heroes is going to be doing some kind of attack and potentially blocking off an enemy. Except then you have to be careful that at the end of sort of the round, if you've killed the enemy or if you've stopped the enemy, that hero is going to take damage. And eventually that hero is going to die if you keep standing on top of enemy round after round after round. Now, of course, that hero will regenerate and be able to be used again 1 turn later with a sort of rest turn in between. But also you have the ability to, instead of using your basic attack, simply rest for the turn, regenerating all your health, regenerating all of your special abilities. So there's this interesting sort of how much can I push my hero and how much should I sort of hold back to sort of save what I need them to do for later rather than letting them die, wasting a turn either dead or resting, and then doing better in future turns. And I talk about this timing thing because this timing thing is a huge piece, because the other half of this main core mechanism of the game is timing. Because it's not about wiping everything off of the map most of the time. It's about survival. It's about making it through round after round until you can accomplish whatever your goal is. And that's going to be very important here because the different types of attacks work in different ways. Some enemies can only be hit by certain kinds of attacks, which is going to be important, but also you've got these soldiers that are placed out by the militia towers and that sort of branch of towers. And the soldiers only survive for one round. So if you can place a soldier on something that's full, then that soldier will help to kill that enemy horde. But if you place a soldier on something that doesn't fill up, that soldier gets killed and disappears for the next round. So the soldiers don't work for long-term planning, except that the soldiers and the heroes have this sort of special ability that at the end of a round, anywhere that has a horde or a soldier standing on it won't move. And remember, the way you're going to die mostly is by these hordes progressing sort of all the way through the map into your kingdom and destroying your kingdom. So it's not just about killing off everything. It's also about slowing things down so they don't make it into your kingdom to do damage before you can take care of them, and or killing enough things in the horde so that when they do get to your kingdom, they don't kill your kingdom completely. And this is a unique aspect here because it's not just about dealing with the enemies. Sometimes you want to intentionally let the enemies through into your kingdom if they're only going to do 1 or 2 damage, because it's not worth wasting the tile on that enemy if you can kill something else somewhere else, take the damage, but do some more damage control somewhere else. So this idea of how much do I need to hit something, when do I need to hit it, then you've got those enemies that are fast enemies that move twice in a round. You're going to want to cover those fast things sooner so they don't move. But if I put a soldier or a hero on there, they're not going to move at all, except that means then the soldier is useless and it means my hero is taking damage. So I really have to pay attention to how am I killing things, when am I killing things, if I can't kill something, is it okay for it to advance, should I hold it off? But then you have to understand that if you're not killing enough things fast enough, the whole world gets full, and anytime somebody spawns, they're basically just spawning right into your kingdom and destroying you anyway. So you do have to make sure that things are getting killed along the way as well. And that brings us to the sort of next wrinkle of the game, and that is the upgrading of your towers. Because if you try to do everything with the towers that you start with, you're never going to win this game. You're going to have to buy new towers with the crystals. You're going to have to upgrade the towers with the coins. And most importantly, you're going to have to upgrade the towers by not using a tower and sort of trading it in for the next level tower. And this is where the game gets really tricky. Because any tower that I'm upgrading to the next level tower is a tower that I can't use on any given round. And that is hard because I want to use as many towers as I can to do as much damage as I can on any given round. But if I don't upgrade my towers to stronger towers early in the game, at the end of the game, there's nothing I can do because my towers aren't strong enough. So there's this other balance and timing aspect of how many towers do I really need to deal with what I have right now, and how many towers can I afford to not use but then to have become stronger and do a whole lot more damage in future rounds. And this is where I'm stressing the fact that it's not just about killing, it's about surviving. It's about holding off the enemies as long as you can until you can build yourself up to be strong enough to take everybody out. And I do think that this is a very interesting idea. This whole idea of balance of killing versus protection versus upgrading, timing of when you do things and how you do things, all of it comes together in a very cool and interesting design. And the idea that it's a polyomino spatial puzzle on top of all of that is something that I do really, really, really enjoy. Then, variability, variety in this game, there's a lot. I believe there's 12 different scenarios in here, and I've been pretty surprised or pretty happy with how much it switches up things and changes up things as you move through these different scenarios, adding in more powerful abilities, adding in these bosses that you sort of react in unique ways, adding in these sort of multi-level monsters that you have to kill little by little with special conditions, adding in different sort of flowers or bulbs around the world that give you extra little abilities when you activate them, adding in other sort of landscape features that do different things, like the volcano that you saw in my playthrough that hurts you if you're standing near it at the end of the round. All of these things twist up the puzzle in unique and different and interesting ways to make the game continue to be new and fresh and interesting as you're playing through the game. And then not only that, you've got the 5 different characters that you're playing through, and they all have unique abilities and powers. You've got Ulrich that's sort of focused on these 2 sand warriors that you can use as protection, but also give you basically an additional 2 spaces of coverage every time, because those sand warriors don't get killed. They're like soldiers that are permanently on the board, unless you use one to save yourself or save somebody else in a multiplayer game from taking damage, which could be huge, because Ulrich doesn't have a whole lot of hit points. So if you want him to stay on a monster and do damage by having his figure there or holding off movement, those sand warriors are going to be useful to sort of use to block that damage and then bring them back in on a future rest turn. And Ulrich is all about this sort of defensive, tanky kind of combat, right? Then you've got Alara, the ice person, who's is all about laying out little bits of ice and then sort of letting that ice spread out and destroy more and more of the hordes where you place the ice. So this is another unique twist, because she basically makes you think forward more. Now it's more about holding things off, because she doesn't want to do a whole lot of damage now, because then that ice is wasted. She needs to spread out that ice as much as possible, hold off as much of the enemy hordes as possible, and then over time they're going to slowly freeze and go away, which is very interesting. You've got Saitam, who's running around the board, smashing people with little bits of damage. He's real fast, he moves all over the place, and every time he goes somewhere, he does a little bit of damage. And this idea of this freely moving around, which means he can also activate more of the sort of map features as well, is very, very fun and very interesting twist. Then we've got, Deirdre, the one I used for this playthrough, who has the ability to sort of turn the soldiers into permanent spots, which is really cool, because again, as I mentioned, the soldiers are mostly there for sort of finishing an attack on somebody or to hold off movement of hordes that are progressing through the kingdom. But now, with Deirdre, after that happens, you still get an additional damage left behind. And it's very interesting that she has this ability to use the soldiers in unique ways, because it really twists how that sort of branch of militia towers works in the game, and they become a whole lot more powerful than they would be otherwise. Then the 5th character, I'm sorry I forgot their name because I haven't played a whole lot with them yet, is interesting because she sort of wants to be in the thick of things, fighting off lots of enemies, or at least being in the world where things are getting fighting off, I can't think of the word, but destroyed. And by being in the thick of things, she gets these tokens that then allows her to do future damage more. So she's sort of got this like battle lust and wants to be right up there in the front lines of battle. But anyway, all 5 of these characters have very unique styles of play. They all have very unique special abilities that can be triggered. They all play in very different ways. So even if you play the same scenario with a different character, you're going to get quite a different style of play, or a different sort of puzzle to play with. And I do appreciate that. And I do think it's really cool. And especially in the solo mode, the ability to use, or the need to use, 2 additional characters or heroes as sort of bench heroes that give you sort of one powerful wave of turn for each of the 2 heroes you have, and gives you one more sort of last-ditch effort to push your way through these sort of hordes of enemies that are coming at you. So listening to all of the things that I'm saying, actually, let me say one more thing. The upgrade system in this I like as well. Those sort of reusable stickers that you place on things to give additional powers to the towers that you have adds in just a little bit more of a wrinkle, because this means that even if I don't have the ability to sort of wait around on a tower to upgrade to the next level tower, I can instead take a tower that I have, instantly spend some coins to make that one better, and now I don't have to waste a turn to make it better. I can just spend some money to make it a little bit better, and that adds another nice little wrinkle to the game and a little bit more variability to how things work. So listening to all of these things, you would say that it sounds like I enjoy this game. And there's a whole lot here that I really do enjoy. The problem is I've played this game a bunch now, and I wish I would have played this more before I made this video. I played the first scenario 4 or 5 times because it just kept beating me and beating me and beating me. I played the second scenario once because I instantly cleared it. The third scenario I played once or twice, and then I recorded for you, and now I played the fourth scenario about half a time. And I say half a time because the more I play this game, the more it frustrates me. The more I play this game, the more it beats me down and the less I want to put it back out again. The setup for this game takes a lot of time. Each of these scenarios has a lot of setup, lots of little things, kind of fiddly things that I need to take care of to get everything out on the table to sit down and play this game. And it takes work to get this game onto the table. Then, the difficulty of this game is really hard. Now, I am playing it standard mode or normal mode. There is an easier difficulty that I haven't tried. But I don't want to have to sort of handicap the game for me to feel like I can do well at this game. Granted, I probably should have started on easy and worked my way up to normal, but I don't like to do that. But the point is this, even on easy, all I get is a little bit more crystals and a little bit more coins, and I start off with a little bit more level 2 towers instead of level 1 towers. So it's going to be slightly easier, but that doesn't really change the way that the game works. Because ultimately this game is difficult because it is constant stress. This game starts with people out on the board already, and then it's just wave after wave after wave after wave. There's never a break. I never feel like, wow, I managed to get through this stuff. Now let's see what's coming next. It's always like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Oh, I'm still alive. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. Well, I managed to survive. Oh my God, I'm still alive. And then either I win or I lose. And it just is constant stress and constant not grind because it's not like repetitive, it's just constant battling against hordes of enemies, and thematically that works, but mechanically it hurts me, and I don't enjoy games that I'm just constantly struggling and struggling and struggling to get through. And there are some specific things in here that I can talk about. First off, the first scenario, I told you, it took me 4, 5, 6 times to beat it, and that's because in the first scenario, unlike the other scenarios, there's no endgame goal except to survive. But in that game, the survival says that by the end of the game, before all the enemies run out, I need to have cleared the board. And the problem with that is there's a timer. As soon as the hordes run out, anytime I'm supposed to spawn a horde and there isn't one there, that's endgame. Which means in the last round of the game, I need to kill everything or let them walk off the board. And that's the thing that sort of at least taught me that it's sometimes important to let these characters leave or the hordes of enemies attack your kingdom, because that is still removing them from the board. So that was a nice learning experience because I really had to get over the fact that I'm not going to be able to destroy everything unless I'm really good at this game. Instead, what I have to do is sort of half cover things and let them come across into my kingdom, doing a little damage so that more stuff was going away. And that was sort of counterintuitive. I wanted to kill everything, and I couldn't really kill everything. After that, though, scenario 2, 3, and 4 are a whole lot more interesting. They had more unique goals about what I needed to do to end the game, and it wasn't just about killing everything, which was good. It made the game more interesting, it made the game more fun, but it got more and more and more challenging. It was fun to see the different stuff getting out. It was fun to see some of these newer towers coming out. It was fun to see the different abilities for the characters getting leveled up, but I never got to any of the level 4 towers because my other big thing with this game is I am really bad at games where I have to take lots of risk in order to get reward in the future. I am not a good long-term strategy planning kind of person. I love short-term turn-based tactical decisions, and in this game it just doesn't work because there's this very, very, very important aspect of when do I upgrade my towers? How many towers do I upgrade? When can I take the risk to not attack things so that I can do more attacks in the future? And I am really bad at that. I have never upgraded past a level 3 tower. Some of those level 4 towers look really cool, but I never feel like I have enough option or ability during a turn, during a round, to sacrifice enough towers, to upgrade enough towers to get to those level 4 towers. So I am growing, I am upgrading, I am expanding the towers, but I never feel like I have enough stuff to take out all of the enemies or to deal with the goal that I needed to get done. And yes, You can tell me get good. And yes, you can tell me that clearly if I upgrade more and I upgrade correctly and I do all of these things, I will do better. But every time I play this game, I think I'm learning and I just don't get any better. It's hard. It's really hard. And it feels hard in a way that I don't like. It feels hard in a way that doesn't match the sort of decision-making and thinking styles that I like. I would much rather the waves of enemies come out at a little bit more of a slow pace, but force me to do more damage against them. So I feel like I have more time to plan and prepare and then see what happens when the enemies come in, rather than the enemies just constantly coming and I'm trying to deal with the nonsense while I'm also preparing and upgrading. It just makes it hard. And I appreciate everything in this game. I really, really am happy with the design of this game. I really love a lot of the mechanisms in this game. The decision space in this game is a lot of interesting decisions, and I do enjoy making those decisions. But ultimately, when I sit down to play this game, the amount of time it takes to set up, the amount of stress that the difficulty and the sort of style of game gives me, it just stopped being fun. And that's a shame, because I'm not going to get a game back to the table if it's not fun. And unfortunately, the way that this pushes me and hurts me and beats me up every time, yes, I like a challenge, but eventually I just grow tired of it because I can't do any better. And I hate to say that about a game that I do appreciate as much as I do appreciate this game. But for me, it's just not fun, and it just doesn't work for me. But I'm telling you all of these things because I do think there's a very good game in here, and I do think for people who like this sort of really crunchy challenge kind of game, this game is definitely going to be one that you should check out. The core mechanisms here are really cool. It's definitely one worth trying out to see if it might be something that works for you. But ultimately, it's not a game for me. I hope that my playthrough helps you to see what kind of game it is. I hope that my discussion here has been enough to show you the sort of better points of this game and why this game might be for you. I hope that this video was helpful, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you do, I do ask that you like, subscribe, and click the bell icon below, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks.